Zach Wilson in year 3 starting to not look like he's 12 years old, which I guess is a plus. And it's easy to get your confidence back, and you have to be confident to the point of delusion or to be successful in the NFL. But one of the strange dynamics this week, Peter, we haven't had a chance to communicate about this at all. As the Jets were wallowing in the woe is us aftermath of week 1, everybody kind of forgot. They beat the Bills. Zach Wilson came in cold and beat the Bills. Aaron Rodgers tears the Achilles on the 4th snap of the game, doesn't even complete a pass. Zach Wilson is told, get your helmet and get your ass in there. And they won the game. So that's something that the Jets and Wilson should be clinging to as the proof that they can be competitive this year without Aaron Rodgers. Are they going to be the same team that they would have been with Aaron Rodgers? No, but they can be competitive because the defense is really good. And if they can draw up a game plan and execute it offensively in a way that keeps it close, score some points, lean on the defense, this team could still challenge for a playoff spot. It's not going to be easy. The schedule is very difficult this year. The division is very difficult this year. But they won a game that everyone would have assumed they were going to lose, and now they go forward with their schedule, and we see how many they can win. But Wilson is clearly their guy. They're not going to bring in a big-name veteran. They tried to sign Brett Rippon off the Rams practice squad. The Rams signed him to the active roster. He chose to stay with the Rams instead of coming to the Jets. That's the kind of backup they're looking for. Wilson is the guy. They'll eventually get somebody to serve as an understudy, but they're all in with Wilson this year until they tell him to go back to the bench next year when Aaron Rodgers is healthy and ready to go again.
I think the perfect guy for the Jets would be Gardner Minshew. And look, everybody's going to say, Gardner Minshew, are you kidding me? Look, you're talking about a backup quarterback and trying to go find a backup quarterback. I have no idea if the Colts would even trade Gardner Minshew. But the point is,
that's the problem. He's their backup. Everybody who's got a backup isn't giving up their backup.
Unless you overcompensate that team. I know the Jets, who already are going to be without their 2 next year, might be loath, and maybe they're not going to do anything unless and until they get desperate. Either until Zach Wilson plays an abominable game one of these weeks, but you may have to go out to get a good backup quarterback like Gardner Minshew. You may have to trade a 4, which you absolutely unequivocally don't want to do. And would Chris Ballard do that? Or would a team that had a good backup quarterback do that? But be that as it may, here's the whole thing. The New York Jets have essentially put lock, stock, and barrel, everything by what they've said this week. They've put it all on Zach Wilson. And probably, I guess, I would do the same. But that doesn't mean anything in the long-term deal. And what I mean is that if Zach Wilson over the next month plays 2 very poor games and hands games away, like he did against New England at the Meadowlands last year, if he does that, then Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas are not going to waste this season. And again, I think that everybody is just assuming that Zach Wilson is going to be fine. He's going to be okay. And I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but I saw the throw to Matt Milano the other night. And anybody who makes that throw deep in the back of your mind, and maybe not even deep in the back of your mind, maybe in the front of your mind, you still got to be worried about the guy.
Wilson is the prime example of the kind of employee that can drive you crazy in any line of work, in any industry, whatever it is. You have somebody who is supremely gifted and can do the hardest things well, but just can't get out of his own way when it comes to the easy stuff. And he still makes those easy throws look very difficult. And that was what got him in trouble last year. He was so desperate, and this was the narrative that was developed, and this was kind of the thought coming out of the Jets organization. He wanted to make those Patrick Mahomes spectacular throws. He completely lost sight of basic things, mechanics, and just operating short passing game, the non-spectacular stuff. That's the challenge now, to get him to understand you just go run the offense. And I wonder how much Aaron Rodgers is going to be around. I was told last night, at least for now, he's not going to be around very much. He's going through the recovery and the rehab of the torn Achilles. But Rodgers was a great presence, at least based on what we saw in Hard Knocks, and who knows how real any of that is. But Rodgers seemed like a great presence for Zach Wilson. He could be the guy that just keeps him on the right track and just knows how to needle him, like he needled him about wearing the headband, whatever he wrapped around his head. What's that called? Whatever it is, the thing from Karate Kid. He wrapped, he gave him a hard time for wearing that under his helmet.
Yeah,
headband or head wrap or head something. Anyway, just know when to bust on him a little bit, and just know how to say that thing at the right time to get him to understand what he needs to do. I think the Jets will be fortunate to have Rodgers around to help out. And we'll see. We'll see. Look, their long-term plan was Aaron Rodgers and then Zach Wilson. Well, now it's Zach Wilson until it's Aaron Rodgers, and then I guess maybe it's Zach Wilson. But this is his chance. And it's a different mindset. It's a different vibe than it was a year ago. And we'll see how much he's grown, how much he's matured, how much better suited he is to do the things that the Jets want him to do. Because I think he drove them crazy last year to the point that they had to bench him. This year he gets a clean slate. It's just coming a lot earlier than we thought it was going to.
Yeah, I think the one other thing to put a bow on this, honestly, is that football's a meritocracy. You get what you deserve. If Zach Wilson plays well, he's the quarterback for the rest of this year and very likely the quarterback of the future for the New York Jets post Aaron Rodgers. Or likely, I should say, because you don't know. If Aaron Rodgers plays 3 or 4 years, Zach Wilson's going to go somewhere. But he will get what he deserves. And that's what football is. That's what football is. So, and I think if I were Zach Wilson, it's all I could ask.
As to Gardner Minshew, there is a possibility the Colts would be willing to do it because they have Sam Ehlinger. The teams that have 3 quarterbacks are the ones to look at. The Saints, once Jake Hebner's back from his PED suspension, and maybe these next 5 games, enough of a testing ground for Zach Wilson that maybe they make a deadline deal for Jameis Winston. I don't know. The Steelers have 2 backups in Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. So there are a few teams out there, but when I hear some of these names like Jacoby Brissett, Commanders aren't going to give up Jacoby Brissett when they're still trying to figure out what they have in Sam Howell. Brissett's the guy that, if all else fails, we can put him in the game. They don't have another backup. So it's got to be a team with 3 quarterbacks they really like, willing to part with one of them, and we'll see if that's what happens with the Jets. For now, though, all it is Zach Wilson on the active roster, Tim Boyle on the practice squad. Presumably he gets called up on Sunday to be the backup when the Jets go to the Cowboys. And we saw what the Cowboys did to the Giants on Sunday night. I just think that was a fluke. I think it happens. I think when you fall behind a couple of scores to the Cowboys, you're walking right into the best way that they can overwhelm you. The challenge for the Jets is manage this offense in a way that doesn't let the Cowboys feast on Wilson the way they feasted on Daniel Jones.
Absolutely. You've got to have a bunch of quick throws in the game plan. Nathaniel Hackett absolutely is going to do that. I think his line is also suspect, as was the Giants last Sunday. So Nathaniel Hackett is going to have a lot of wheel routes in there. He's going to have a lot of short throws in there just to have Zach Wilson get rid of the ball and just try to move the chains. I think the other thing they try to do until it is absolutely, totally shut down by the Cowboys is give them a gigantic dose of Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. That's the way you're going to have to win this game. Manage the clock. Don't give your quarterback too many difficult throws to make. Run the ball.
And on defense, be extremely physical within the confines of the rules, actually, obviously. But when and this is a Chris Sims observation about the Cowboys, when they get hit in the mouth, when they are matched in physicality, and they find themselves in a close game, they're a different team. When they start scoring points early, the avalanche is on. You got to keep it close, trust the defense. Maybe you can get Dak Prescott to make the same kind of mistakes Josh Allen was making the other night, but that's going to be the key for the Jets to have a chance. Slim chance, but a chance nonetheless. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.